So this is now our relay. It has enough delta V to move it. Now what's interesting about this is if I turn this on, this is an advanced probe body. Look at it's got locked to all the different vectors. This is a, what is this one? This is the Hex 2 probe body. It's a lot. So we're going to use these RCS blocks to propel the thing. So I'm going to go into the RCS blocks. I'm going to go to show actuation toggles. I'm not going to use the yaw, pitch, and roll because as you can see this thing has no problem with yaw, pitching, and rolling without RCS blocks, so we're disabling that. I'm not going to ever use this to move sideways, so we're disabling the port, starboard, and the dorsal ventral. I'm going to keep on the forward and aft because I do eventually want this thing to drive forward and backwards. And we're also going to turn on forward by throttle, which means that if I put on RCS, which I'm just not going to do right yet, if I can put the throttle up and down, and that will actually control the RCS if I put on RCS, which I didn't do because I don't want to drive this thing just yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this thing and we're going to bring it to the moon. Let's see if we can get Valentina and build back to Kerbal. So I'm a little concerned. 330, I thought I set this out all pretty good. Can I get rid of the target now? Oh, it's still... Oh, come here, come here. I can see you. I saw it, I saw it. I saw it. Come on, come on. Come on. There. No. Okay, forget it. I'll delete it once we're further away. So what I'm going to do before I just burn retrograde and go is just make sure that this is going to work. So I'm just going to add a maneuver here and burn retrograde. All I'm doing is lowering down my periapsis down into Kerbal's atmosphere. And if I can do that with under 334 meters per second, then I'm golden. Let's see, that is well into Kerbal's atmosphere now. It's a 308 meters per second burn, so it's a little close. But we're going to be able to do it. So I think what I'll just do is delete that. Point these folks retrograde. I'm just noticing I don't have the ability. Oh, I'm still set the target here. That's why. Haha, there we go. Now I can point that way. And we're just going to burn. So say goodbye to the probe wherever it went. There it is there. Bye, probe. And then we'll come back to the probe and we'll send this out. All right. So there we go. And yeah, I'm just burning until my periapsis is like 35 kilometers. So for those people, yeah, this is kind of my answer to KSP2. I have tried a little bit. I actually have been asked, like, why aren't you playing KSP2? Quite frankly, because it's kind of broken a bit still. To me, it is not yet in an enjoyable state, so I'm not going to play it. So I thought, why not just take KSP1, keep the sort of stock gameplay, and make it really pretty like KSP2 is. I think I went a little bit too far. Let's see if we can back off with the RCS. So there we go. That's a periapsis of 35 kilometers. They're going to be down there in, almost 2 days. We're a long way away. So I'm going to set this up for the solar panels like so. 25 meters per second left. It's not, I did cut it a little fine. You know what, like, as I talk about this, why I think I actually am having, I got too many. Well, now I can probably click on this and unset that target. Beautiful. Okay. Why I might have gotten a little closer on the Delta V than I wished, just because I went to obviously intersect this satellite, and it is in a bit of an elliptical orbit. You can tell because the moon's in a circular orbit, so you can see it's wider out here and further away, or closer to Kerbal down here. And I paid no attention to where I was actually doing the rendezvous. And when you are getting, your Holman transfer out there would be elliptical, as well as this being elliptical. What that means is where they intersect, there's always going to be a reasonable radial component, and I think that added to the Delta V. If you really want to make sure to do it with a minimum amount of Delta V, what you want to do is, if I switch over to the other probe here, oh no, that was a mistake, is rendezvous with your target, come back, there we go, is rendezvous with your target at either the apoapsis or periapsis of your target. So maybe if I get another one of these, I'll make sure I'll do that. But in the meantime, these folks are on their way home. I'm going to use the game's alarm clock feature. I'm going to create an alarm. I'm going to create alarm for periapsis, and I'm going to give myself, oh, let's say 20 minutes warning. And that should wake me up before maybe 30 minutes warning. So I'm looking at this awake, yeah. I'm looking at this, yeah. So we'll add that alarm. So there, I put that alarm in there. That will remind me to come back to these folks before they enter into the atmosphere. But in the meantime, I think I might be too far away. Yeah, I am. Let's go over to this fella. Switch to. Hey, Philip, I'm glad you made it as well. KSP 1 is definitely better than KSP 2 right now. I have to agree. Okay, so this is again not my thing. All I've done is added on one additional antenna. It is completely powered by monopropellant. I did do the math. I pulled out the rocket equation and worked out how much delta V it has. It says down here that it's 0. It's not 0. It actually has plenty to get itself to the moon. And if you want to look up the rocket equation, I got a video on it as well, but it only takes 3 pieces of information for you to work out how much delta V it has. You need to have the mass of the vessel, or the mass of the probe in this case. You need to have the mass of the propellant, and you need to know the ISP of your engines, which in this case are just these RCS thruster blocks. And then you can work out how much delta V it has. It's actually not even that complicated. Okay, and also speaking of these RCS thruster blocks, I have turned off, I did this last episode, the yaw, the pitch, the roll, the port starboard translation, the dorsal ventral translation. So the only thing I'm worried about for thrusting direction is forward and aft. In fact, really just forward. And I've attached the forward to the throttle. So we can actually use these thruster blocks in the same way as you would use a regular engine. And we'll be doing that in just a little bit. But for now, we need to target the moon. Target the moon. And we need to see if we can put ourselves on now. Yeah, I've got a pretty low inclination. This should be completely doable. Might be a bit in the future. You can see it's very close to a moon orbit anyway. So it really should be pretty cheap. And we're just going to move this forward in time, noticing the close approach indicators there. It's a little weird because we are elliptical. Now I have to bring this right down further. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We are, oh my gosh. The game really doesn't like it when you have 2 orbits this close together. Okay, let's focus our view on the moon. All right, and we're going to aim for, there's our other 2 relays. So we're going to aim to be putting it into the same orbit, and we're going to locate it right here so that they form a nice little triangle. That's the plan anyway. So, can I... Is it going to let me... Okay, that doesn't seem... Whoa, 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 I'm getting a... I think maybe the better plan... What happens if I change the timing? Trying to just, oh, you know what? No, I'm going to put it back. No, I should just be happy with the intersect I got. This is way too flaky. Way too flaky. Yeah. Just be happy with what you got. We'll do this. We'll finagle our way over to the moon. The capture is going to be super cheap. You can see it's almost captured already because our velocity is already very similar to that with the moon. So this burn's coming up in 5 days. So I'm going to use the alarm clock feature again. Create an alarm for this maneuver. And give me like 10 minutes warning, I guess. So we'll add that maneuver. That's coming up in 5 days. You know what I might just do is maybe just go ahead and do the contract coming out from the pole in the meantime. So, yeah, that's it. And I know it says here that, you know, I don't have fuel and stuff. Trust me, everything's fine. So let's go back to, can I switch to them from here? Yes, you can. Nice. Let's switch over to them. Oh, you're worried the antennas are including the thrusters? Uh-oh, if that turns into a problem, it's a problem, but These folks are on their way to Kerbal, so if that's a problem, then that's what it is. Okay, let's get ourselves down there. So just time warp, enjoy the view. Trusting the alarm clock to stop us in time. Hey Veos, welcome. Okay, let's delete that, and let's just do this. So this should, you know, all things, a quick save anyway. And our periapsis is still 70. Yep, that's good. Periapsis didn't. Sometimes these things change mysteriously. Alrighty, stage and retrograde. Surface. SAS off. Parachute is armed. We should be able to just ride this down. This should be it. Yeah, I don't trust the automatic take you out of warp. Like I've blown right through atmospheres if I'm on a high time warp. I'm very, very distrustful of time warping. I've had too many bad things happen while time warping. So I like setting my alarms. It also is like a checklist of things to do, so you don't forget about this. Don't forget to come here. Surface. How's the pole doing? It looks like doing the stations in the lead. I think I'll let it run for just a little bit. I mean, it's still 3 days. We'll see what we do. I'm considering whether to get started doing the station and then do this guy, you know, in 3 days. How is our... Okay. Now, where are we? Do we have any... We are over grasslands. We've been over grasslands before. So that ain't nothing new. I might just... Yeah. I'm going to jettison that heat shield once we're fully deployed. Just to lose that weight. Slow down. Oh my gosh. That felt scary. Okay, get rid of that. Still grasslands, I'm assuming. Yeah. Have I done an EVA report over the grasslands before? Valentina's very brave here. I have. All been done before. Oh, it's a... I've never noticed that. This command pod has always looked sad. It's the shape of the windows. It's just sad. Okay, let's just very quickly... Have I done a surface sample? No. So that is something new. And I can take... probably have done an EVA report. Yes. So there's one thing new. See the daisies. Thank you very much, Trav, for the... very, very kind donation. Looking forward to your stream every week. Mike, thanks for doing this. You bet. Actually, I feel sort of bad about what I'm about to say next because you just reminded me of something. And here, let's recover. Alright, so that was that. Let's see. Not too much happening with that. Can I jump to here? No, it won't let me do that. Okay, so gotta go into track. Let's see how that probe works. So this is, oh, it's still called. So here we are. So this is, what is the name of this thing? This is, of course, what the contract called it. Damaged Kerbal TST-Y satellite, yada, whatever. This is now Moon Relay 3. That is your new name, and you are officially now a relay. Accept that. Okay. All right. Oh, no, I don't think the exhaust is occluded by anything. I guess this one here, the rear exhaust, but we're not going to be flying backwards. No, everything should be fine. Okay, let's get to this. Where's Kerbal? We can watch it from... Turn it to free. There we are. Off we go. Off we go. Hello, Scottney. How are you doing? Hello, Tomby Gunner. Welcome. I don't know what the heck. Why Scatterer just... That's the Chatterer mod. And usually it does that when you're transmitting. But for some reason, I wasn't transmitting. I don't know what happened there. Oh! Maybe... For picking up a communication... I do have equipment on the moon's surface. Maybe it picked up through... I don't know. It's weird. Whatever. I shouldn't worry about it. Random noises. Random noises, everybody. Okay, so we got this coming up. We still have this intercept, so that makes me feel good. Let's get closer. This is a little burn, so it really shouldn't be a big deal. Okay, M. There we go. All right, so what's nice is this is the, like, what is it? The Hex 2 probe core. It's got, like, all of the lock-on features, including the lock to the maneuver node feature. So that's pretty cool. So to use, let's put it back on orbit. To use RCS as main thrust, like I said, what I did is I just have this forward is toggled by the throttle, toggled on, and you have to still put on RCS. But now, if I throttle up, I don't know if you can see it here. Let's get ourselves a little closer because this isn't much of a burn. And again, the burn time indicator is completely confused. It thinks I have no delta V. But if I go forward, you can see I'm thrusting with the RCS blocks and bringing this down. So, yeah, just like engines. Monoprop for small probes like this can actually be a very effective means of propulsion. As long as you don't want a ton of delta V, because the thruster blocks are very light compared to engines. Oops. And you can still use, by the way, the like N. I can thrust back a little bit to undo what I just did. That was actually quite a lot. So the regular RCS keys still work. And then when you turn RCS off, it's just back to being its normal self again. Okay, how is our intercept with the moon doing after that? I should have really... I hate this stuff. Okay, I'm not going to use the alarm clock, because I'm sure it'll be very, very confused. What happened here? We got a screen message. Surface deployed goo, transmitted more science. I think that was what I heard then. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to warp to about... here. I'm just going to say warp to here. And I'm hoping that this will all settle itself down. You can see how close we are to the moon. We're almost in the same orbit. So that's why... Okay, that worked out okay. Stop. Stop. Stop, boy. Stop, boy. Okay. Now I got a nice, stable connection. So, let's focus here. Just had to get a little closer. I'm going to put a maneuver here. Add a maneuver. And I want to just tweak this encounter a little bit. I want this periapsis. I can see I got a... Yeah, I want that periapsis higher. So if I go to here... Ideally, I think it's 377.35. Something like that. Or 370... Oh my gosh. I should have written it down, but I didn't. Oh, it's... Oh, what am I doing? Stop. Stop what you're doing. Stop it. Stop it, Damio. I think radial would have been the better choice. Definitely. There we go. So I want that encounter out here. Now, I might be too close to really get effective normalness out of it. I am going to get... Yeah. So, I'm just going to live with that. We'll tweak as we get in here. We'll have to fix some inclination-y stuff. It's all good. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is just lock this onto the maneuver node. Again, put RCS on. And really just kind of not wait for the maneuver. Just push that out. Yeah, Trav's just noticing that too. I did get data from that. Maybe I should explain why I got some data there. Okay, I'm going to have to be fixing this anyway, so it doesn't have to be perfect. I do have a contract. Let's open up the contracts here. Nope. That button. To gather surface mystery goo. And that's sitting on the surface. It's now at 20% of 50%, so it's not quite halfway there. And that's continually going in the background. That's that surface deployed mystery goo that comes from breaking ground. When this percentage gets to 50, but it seems to transmit every 10%. So that's what we heard with the Modi mod. What do I want to get rid of this? That's what I want to do. Okay, so let's go to the SOI change. Let's again just do a warp to here. Warp to here. Now we should be pretty darn close to the moon. There it is. Is it possible to do a stable polar orbit that will always see Kerbal? Not that you not in this game that will no, it'll like even if you here, let me stop my time warp. Even if you sit there and say, "Oh, I'll put a polar orbit like this in the moon takes 6 days to go around, so in a quarter of an orbit, so in a day and a half, that orbit will no longer be oriented that way with Kerbal. It will be oriented edge-on with Kerbal, and then it'll be times when it's behind the moon. There really is no way to do it. And I've got... Oh, I'm getting the maneuver disappearing on me. I hate that. 4 minutes. Let me get into... Whoa, we got something... Whoa, 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 whoa! Stop. See what I see about time warping blind. Okay, retrograde real quick. That was me being old and having my fingers in the wrong spot. As of right now, I've already passed my closest approach to the moon, so I'm simply going to burn retrograde and get a capture, which won't take much. There we go. So not a disaster. But whatever, there we go. Okay, we're going around the moon. We can figure it out now. How about a quick save? There's an idea. Quick save now, before. So all of a sudden, like, I don't know what happened. There was a pause in the screen, and then I went to stop the time warp, and then there was some sort of, I don't know, whatever. The game kind of froze there for a second, and then I went to hit stop time warp, and I hit the period instead. That's what happened there. And that's because I'm old and feeble. Okay. Anyway, what I was saying, I always get these discussions, and these come up on all my videos where I talk about relay satellites, about, oh, you can do this with just 2 satellites, and oh, you can do this with just this many satellites. Technically speaking, when I get this 3rd satellite around here, I will have like 99% coverage of the moon. The only things that will not be covered is the poles. Like if I'm sitting on the pole, I would probably have some interference. I probably will have the signal blocked by the moon's surface itself. So, but for the rest of the moon, it's probably going to be fine. And the only way to solve that 100%, is to actually put 3 other satellites in an orbit that would be perpendicular to this orbit. So in this case, it would be a polar orbit. And then you really do have, but I think that's just way too much work. And I always get people, oh, if you put 1 in a polar orbit, it'll be fine. No, it won't. If I just do 2, it'll be fine. No, it won't. I mean, you'll get a lot of coverage. Truth of the matter is, when you have just 1 satellite, you've already got way over 50% coverage. If you count the fact that the moon's already facing Kerbal, so like you already, without a relay at all, you already have 50% coverage, and then with the relay, you're going to get like a huge chunk of the rest of it. So that's why probably people think it's okay. But if you really, really, really want 100% coverage, you do need actually 6. But 3 is going to be fine. I'm not going to go more than 3. It does. And then you know what I'll do is I'll put 3 around Minmus at some point, which I've yet to be at. Yet to do anything at Minmus here. I got to put a maneuver here. I've yet to do anything at Minmus, and but I'll do that one, which in what I think's the easier way to do it, which is to do it all in one launch and to drop all the satellites from a single vehicle. We'll do Minmus that way rather than to salvage these guys. Anyway, what I'm doing now is I want to zero out my inclination. So I put this maneuver at what I think would be the equatorial or very close to the equatorial ascending node for the moon. I can see it because, you know, this orbit is equatorial, so that makes it a little bit easier. And then I'm going to bring this down to try and zero out my inclination. That's really all I'm doing here. And we're going to look at our maneuver data here, and this is predicting what our inclination will be after we perform this maneuver. So I want that down to 0, so that is now at 1 degree, and now it's starting to go up, so that tells me I'm not in the right spot. So I don't know, maybe I have to come this way a little more and then see if I can get it lower than what I just had it. Nope, that makes it worse. That makes it worse, so I think I actually should be the other way. Yep, 0.5, 0.6. Okay, I think I need to be even more the other way. Come back this way. Oh, I was almost there. Here, let's do it with the widgety tool. There it is, 0.0 degree inclination. So we're going to go do that burn, 24 meters per second. And, RCS is still on. I guess that doesn't really matter. Okay, F5. Let's finish this all off. And then we'll do... What's winning? Well, the station's winning, 68%. So that's likely... That's, you know, get your votes in if you haven't done so already. Okay, so this is about zeroing inclination. I love how quickly this thing whips around. It's got the crazy probe body. I can see, like, look how little monopropellant I've used so far. That tells you just how much delta V this thing really does have. Okay. Watch the time warping, sure. Be careful. No idea how long the burn's going to be, but I can't imagine it's too long. Start going. Oh, RCS on. That's the one thing. You have to put on your RCS to get it going. So we're just zeroing out our inclination here. Half a degree. 0.3, 0.2, 0.1, 0. Beautiful. Our RCS off. Back on the normal vector for you, so you look nice. Okay, so next. Oh, that came out. Look at where my periapsis is. I wasn't even looking at that. That came out shockingly decent. I might. Now let's set one of these as a target. I'm gonna have to do some finagling anyway. So this has an altitude of 377.35. I'm pretty sure that is the right number. That's the number that I got in my head. So let's... I'm not quite in the right spot, but let's burn radially inwards and look at my periapsis. I want this 377. I got... This isn't the most... Oh, RCS on. There we go. That's good. So a slight adjustment. And now what I gotta do is I want my phase angle, which is the one I selected as a target. I honestly... Must be this one. I did. Okay. So... Trying to guess... Oh, I'm going to be very close. Okay, yeah. So, okay. let's talk about this. So eventually, it looks like it's going to be perfect, right? Because this is exactly where I want to be, where this periapsis is relative to these two. But of course, these two are going to move, and in fact, by the close approach indicators, you can see we're actually going to be pretty close to this satellite. I want to be 120 degrees behind it. Now, I'm going to guesstimate that at 120 degrees, which means I want to drop back a further 100 degrees. So here, I'm going to do very quick calculation. 100 degrees out of a total of 360 degrees, and that gets me a decimal. This is a 3-hour orbital period, so if I multiply that by 3 hours, and then 60 to get it to be minutes, I get 50 minutes. So what I'm going to do with my roundabout, really Mickey Mouse calculation here is I'm going to reduce the period of this orbit. Let's go to period so I can see it. So it is 50 minutes I don't think I'm doing this right. More than 3 hours. But actually, what might be a better guesstimate, that shows you the separation. There's where the target is. That's where I will be after that burn. Does that look like 120 to you? Maybe a little more? If I want this angle here to be 120. Yeah, forget the calculator. Let's do eyeballs. Eyeballs. Okay, so, and if it's not quite there, it's not like it's a big deal. It really isn't. Okay, so F5. Let's get down and do this burn. And we'll see how it goes. So I have 3 very, very different satellites here for my relays. Because they were all satellites. Two of them were for those, what do you call them? Specific orbit about Kerbal type of contracts, and this one here is a repair satellite contract. We'll see how it goes. How's our poll? 62% station. Okay, again, I don't know how long the burn's going to take. Let's, RCS on, throttle up. Oh, it's going to be pretty short. I like using monopropellant for probes. I think it's a really good. It's a really good option. If you're ever putting probes up and you want something, you don't need a lot of delta V and you want something that's lightweight, monopropellant is always an option. Okay, so now in theory, I should be going. Let's see how this works. I could have easily messed this up, in which case you're in an orbit. Like you have all the options in the world to correct for this. But what I'm hoping is that this satellite will end up halfway between these two satellites, like that way. Of course, I'm hoping I didn't go 120 degrees the wrong way, because that will put me pretty much right on top of the other satellite. I could have picked, no. I think this is working pretty good. Look at that. In which case, all I got to do is circularize, and there's my network. Yeah. Yeah, these little indicators are a pretty good indication. Just, you know, well, that's what they're for, right? Showing you how far apart you are. Okay, how far am I from almost getting to periapsis? Now, what I can do as well at this point is look at my approach information. It's giving me a phase angle. It's saying now it's 107 degrees. That's lower than I would have liked, but who knows? Maybe by the time I'm all done, this will be good. Okay, so F5 again. Let's get to our periapsis, which is still 7 minutes away. Actually, what I should do... Nah. Let's just do it. We'll do this without a maneuver node. I'm sure this network will work fine. I mean, I've played entire careers with ever putting together any kind of network, and it always works fine. Not like it's a big deal. Alright, still looking at the time to periapsis. It's about a minute now. What's my phase angle at? 106 degree? Whatever. Close enough. I think I got closer with my other satellite. Let's just stick that on retrograde. We'll get ready. I think it's pretty good. Put the lines on so it looks better. You want this to be an equilateral triangle. Yeah, it could be more this way. I can see that now. This should be more that way. Oh well. Oh well. It's good enough. I mean, if I was really picky, I could keep my period just a little bit higher than 3 hours, and then do another orbit, and I'll drop back a little bit. But I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to bother. I don't want to spend too much time with this. I want to get into building my what's looking like going to be a space station. Okay, RCS on. Always forget that part. Let myself get a little closer. This isn't going to be too much of a burn. Okay, and right now I'm really just looking at my period. I want it to be 3 hours. That's really the important bit. Ooh, 3 hours and 5 seconds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn down the thrust limiter on these guys to like 10%. Let's actually, whoops. Numbers, that's what I want, 10%. Now, I think I might have to do each of these individually. No, they all changed. Good, good. Okay, okay. So let's take off that last 5 seconds. Oh, I overdid it, but I can just thrust backwards. Oh, I turned RCS off, silly. Oh, wow, that's... 3 hours, 1 minute. Oh, for goodness sakes, I went too far again. Back. Okay, patience. Patience. I'm burning almost nothing. I see 3 hours and 1 second. I know it is burning. Pretty sure. Okay, I'm calling that. 3 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. And what I'll do in the meantime is actually... Once I quit, I'll go into the persistent file, and I will, here I can take off this target. There we go. Get into the persistent file, but I'm pretty happy with that. So there we go. All right, pretty cool.